What if I told you that one of the greatest empires in human history didn't fall in one day or even 1 year, but crumbled slowly, almost invisibly, from within? That while Rome was busy building roads and monuments, the seeds of its own destruction were quietly taking root, and no one really noticed until it was far too late. And what if the warning signs that doomed Rome are eerily familiar, popping up in today's world as well? This is the story of the fall of the Roman Empire. No complicated jargon, no fluff, just the raw, gritty truth, simply told. Let's rewind to a time when Rome was the powerhouse of the known world. Imagine standing on the cliffs of Britannia, feeling the cold North Sea wind on your face, or walking through the bustling marketplaces of Alexandria, where spices, silk, and ideas from across continents flowed freely. At its height, Rome controlled more land than any other empire in Europe had ever dreamed of. From the wind-swept hills of Scotland in the north, across the vast deserts of North Africa, through the temples of Egypt, the philosophers of Greece, and all the way to the ancient cities of the Middle East, the empire's reach was staggering. But Rome wasn't just vast, it was powerful beyond belief. Its legions were disciplined machines of war, feared by enemies near and far. Its roads, stretching over 50,000 miles, connected cities like veins, carrying lifeblood throughout the empire. Its laws shaped daily life, offering order amid chaos. Its culture blended countless peoples into a mosaic that, for centuries, seemed unbreakable. Yet here's a harsh truth. Empires, no matter how mighty, are fragile. The bigger they grow, the more vulnerable they become. Rome's downfall didn't begin with barbarian invasions or shattered legions. It began inside, in the marble halls of power. Political corruption slowly seeped into every corner of the empire. Imagine being a Roman citizen in the 3rd century AD, watching emperor after emperor rise and fall, often violently. In just 50 years, Rome saw more than 20 emperors crowned, only to be assassinated or killed in civil war. 1 year, an emperor might be hailed as a savior. The next, he was dead, stabbed by his own guards, or betrayed by senators. This wasn't leadership. It was chaos disguised as power. As the political scene grew unstable, greed took hold. The rich hoarded more wealth than ever, while the poor struggled to survive. The middle class, those who once formed the backbone of Roman society, started to disappear. Sound familiar? The Roman Senate, once a symbol of wisdom and stability, became little more than a club for the elite to protect their own interests. Laws were bent, justice corrupted, and the voice of the common people drowned out to keep the masses distracted and docile. Emperors turned to bread and circuses, free grain, gladiator games, wild spectacles that entertained and numbed the public to the empire's deeper troubles. It was the ancient equivalent of today's endless social media scrolls, reality TV, and political theatre. Anything to keep people from looking too closely at the cracks forming beneath their feet. While politics spiraled, Rome's economy was unraveling just as quickly. Inflation surged as the government tried to solve problems by minting more coins, but with less silver in each. Imagine waking up one day to find your money barely buys a loaf of bread. Prices skyrocketed, savings became worthless, traders grew wary, confidence in the economy plummeted. At the same time, Rome's military, once the empire's greatest strength, started showing signs of decay. The legions, once filled with fiercely loyal Roman citizens, began relying heavily on mercenaries, foreign soldiers who fought not out of loyalty, but for pay. This created a dangerous dynamic. Mercenaries fought for the highest bidder and often deserted when funds dried up. Some even turned their weapons against Rome itself. The once unstoppable Roman army was no longer invincible. Beyond Rome's borders, pressure was mounting from all sides. Germanic tribes, the Visigoths, Vandals, Franks, pushed hard against the empire's frontiers, seeking land, wealth, and security. Then came the Huns, led by the fearsome Attila, whose fierce raids sent shockwaves across Europe. These migrations forced waves of displaced tribes westward into Roman territory. Rome's borders, vast and stretched thin, became impossible to defend. With fewer reliable soldiers and mounting internal chaos, the empire's walls were breached again and again. In 410 AD, the unthinkable happened. Rome was sacked by the Visigoths. For the first time in 800 years, the eternal city was no longer untouchable. The symbol of Rome's invincibility was shattered. Though the empire would limp on for a few more decades, split into east and west, the writing was on the wall. The Western Roman Empire was dying. The end wasn't a fiery battle or a heroic last stand. It was quiet, almost anticlimactic. In 476 AD, Romulus Augustulus, a teenage boy and the last Western Roman emperor, was deposed by Odoacer, a Germanic chieftain. No dramatic speeches, no desperate fights, just a simple transfer of power that marked the fall of an empire. But Rome didn't vanish overnight. Its culture, language, laws, and religion survived, embedded deeply in the fabric of Europe, carried forward by the Catholic Church, the Latin language, and centuries of tradition. Rome's spirit lived on, even as the empire itself faded into history. So what can we learn from Rome's fall? That power is fragile. That no empire, no matter how mighty, is immune to time, corruption, or complacency. When leaders choose luxury over duty, when wealth piles up in the hands of a few while millions struggle, When distractions replace honest conversation, collapse isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Most chillingly, most Romans didn't realize their world was crumbling. Life went on. They went to the games, tended their farms, raised their families, until one day it didn't. Could it happen again? Could a great modern power fall as Rome did? Maybe, maybe not. But if it ever does, the signs won't arrive with fanfare or flashing headlines. They'll come quietly, in government halls, in the loss of trust, in the slow erosion of civic pride, in the silence replacing outrage. It's important to remember, Rome's fall wasn't the end of civilization. The Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantium, survived for another 1,000 years, adapting and innovating amid changing tides. Decline isn't destiny. Resilience and courage can change the course of history. And the ideas Rome gave us, law, citizenship, civic duty, still shape the world today. From the Enlightenment to the US Constitution. Rome died, but its DNA is everywhere. So here's a challenge. What are the bread and circuses of our time? What important truths are we ignoring while distracted by endless entertainment and division? What cracks are we pretending not to see? Let's not wait for future historians to write the story of our failure. Let's write a better story while we still can. Because the rise and fall of civilizations isn't just history, it's prophecy. Thanks for watching. If you want us to explore more stories like Byzantium, the Ottomans, or the British Empire, drop a comment below, because understanding the past helps us protect the future.